ever the night they played the Titans.
Even though you're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, we're here weekdays, drive time, your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
What do we do? This just got way too complicated.
I've got it. Here's what's going down. Corey, you talk to your team. You guys are going to decline that holding call.
Done.
Yo, wait, but
hold on. Trayshawn, once we break this huddle, you're going to get out there, do some crazy celebration. I'm talking some humpies. Whatever you got to do, you do it. Okay, I got you. I'm going to call unsportsmanlike conduct on the celebration. Give me the white better field position after the kickoff. Coach, I need you to talk to your team about letting them run that kickoff back.
Why would I do that?
Think about it. Defense, special team, it's all one. You let them run that kickback, both your defenses get 6 points.
Nice.
Okay, everyone good here?
Yeah.
Nope. Once again, my kicker is getting no love. Oh, shut up, Bill. Your team is in first place. Plus, you're about to get extra point for the PAT.
Yeah, don't be greedy, Bill.
Stop being greedy, Bill. Bill.
Fine.
Bill?
Yeah, Bill.
He said fine.
Bill.
Bill?
Yeah, Bill.
You, Bill.
All right, let's do this. Get out there.
Wait a minute. Trayson comes in with a very delayed celebration here. Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure that's going to be there it is. Another
Armchair.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up. You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limited hearing, full stop making lane change signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
It's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
You think I got canceled? Are you under the impression that I got canceled?
I hurt you, Jerry.
I thought that was pretty well documented.
Is
this still CNN? I was the number one show on television, Larry.
You were.
Do you know who I am? 75 million viewers. Last episode.
What? Don't take it so bad.
Well, that's the big difference between being canceled and being number one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So why didn't I flinch? Because the laws of science differ fundamentally from those of
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Atlanta Braves' Mike Soroka will make his debut today in the Atlanta Braves spring training camp against the Boston Red Sox. This will be his first appearance since tearing his Achilles early last season. He is expected to pitch 1 or 2 pitches, and his roommate Ian Anderson was quoted as saying, "I'm super excited for him. I know he's super stoked to get on the mound. I'm sure we'll go over some hitters tonight. He'll probably be asking me questions all night long. It'll be fun. I'm definitely watching tomorrow." Unquote. And you should too. Game time is 1:05, first pitch, and it will be available on MLB.TV off the NESN network. We have a short slate today as this is the last day of spring training. The rest of the games look like this. At 2 o'clock, Brewers versus Rangers, 3:40, Indians versus the Diamondbacks, and at 9:10 p.m., the Angels and Dodgers square off. There's 2 more tickets to punch for the men's Final Four tonight, 7:15 on TBS. You've got USC versus Gonzaga. And at 9:57, also on TBS, 11th seed UCLA tries to continue their Cinderella run against number 1 seeded Michigan. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are shutting down Al Horford for the remainder of the season. Horford, 34 years old, says he will help focus on developing young players for Oklahoma City and shut himself down physically for the rest of the year. Quote, "When I arrived, I understood the direction of the team. We had a great individual plan in place for me, and I feel like as a result, I've played really good basketball for the Thunder." The Oklahoma City Thunder are out of the playoff chase. We have a short slate tonight in the NBA. At 7 o'clock Eastern, you got the Hornets and Wizards. 9 o'clock on NBA TV, it's the 76ers versus the Nuggets. And at 10 o'clock, Magic travel to the Clippers, and the Hawks go to Phoenix. And in the National Hockey League, we've got a slew of games tonight, beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern. Blue Jackets and Lightning with the Hurricanes and Blackhawks over on NBC Sports Network. And at 8 o'clock, you got the Stars at the Red Hot Predators, along with Caps Rangers, Devils Bruins, and Red Wings Panthers, all taking place at 7. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Find it kind of weird that all of a sudden there are women college basketball coaches that don't even want to have a virus test taken for the Final Four. All we heard about before is putting kids in risk even playing this year. Now all they worry about is that championship. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Have you ever done this kind of work before? Well, book reports. Who do you read? I like Mike Lupica. Mike Lupica? He's a sports writer for the Daily News. I find him very insightful. No. I mean author. A lot of good ones. Yeah. A lot of good ones. I don't even want to mention anybody because I'm afraid I'm going to leave somebody out. Name a couple. Who do I like? I like Art Vandelay. Art Vandelay? He's an obscure writer. Beatnik, from the village. What's he written? Venetian Blinds.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Mr. Stephen Troche. Stephen, how the hell are you, sir?
Just about through draft season. I am doing great. What are we, 2 days away from opening day?
Yeah, we would be done with draft season, but some idiot, yours truly, had what happened last night? We're supposed to have a draft, and I meant to hit 4 outfielders, and instead, not only did I hit 4 center fielders, but then the 3 outfielders were already included. So we're going to have 7 damn outfielders, 4 of them having to be center field. So I had to make a quick decision on, do we just go through a crappy season? No, I don't want to do that. We tried to reset it, And then when I go back in, everyone's drafting again. And when I went to hit reset the second time, for some reason, it went bonkers. It wouldn't redo it. And so to cut to the chase, we have a draft tonight that we were supposed to have last night, and it's my fault. And I apologize to everyone involved. Hopefully, I'm gonna go over, double check and triple check everything today to make sure there's no goofy thing like that. It's funny. I asked Will to look at that league. I said, "Hey man, do me a favor and look at that. Make sure there's nothing goofy. This is on Sunday." He scanned over. He said, "Yeah, it looks okay to me." I think all he did was look at the time that it was drafting. So he hits me about 10 minutes before the draft and says 4 center fielders. I was like, "What?" Actually, that's not what I texted, but I can't say that on air. But anyways, here we sit, and I'm looking forward to the draft tonight. It's the first one I will have this year that's not a dynasty of some sort, and it's not some kind of a keeper, and it's also not an auction. I'm in a total of, I think this one tonight will make my 10th league, but I wanted one that was an actual traditional draft, and I hadn't even thought about, someone brought it up to me, like, we're not even in a freaking draft that there's just a normal draft. Like there's all kinds of rules and bells and whistles. Like, man, that kind of sucks now that I think about it. So we'll attempt that tonight. You're picking what, third?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Tatis is going first. Right?
Yeah, I'm like 2 times in a row he picked him. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he had already talked to me too a couple of days before. I talked about this on air that I was pretty sure he was going to go with Tatis. So who did Will draft in second? Was it Soto or was it Cunha?
Well, he went to Cunha because he saw that 4 center fielder rule. But I think he was set there. I'm not 100% though.
Gotcha. All right. Well, with all that being said, we got a draft tonight, and then you're going to hit third. So you'll get one of those two. That's, either a Cunha or Soto, whoever he doesn't pick. I think they're both pretty interchangeable. I actually think that Soto is the better pure hitter.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing that Cunha brings you, but we're not categories, is he brings you steals, which does get you points in our league, but it's not that much of a big deal to. I think, honestly, I probably, if I wasn't a Braves fan, I would probably go with Soto with my second pick.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you sit there at 3 and you're not a Braves fan, so it's a totally different argument. Because if I'm a Braves fan and he was there, of course I'm going to take him, right? But would you consider putting Mookie Betts somewhere in there? Because the kind of year that he had last year, he's going to be in an incredible offense in Los Angeles. Do you hate passing on Mookie Betts, or are you fine with one of the top 3?
So the main thing that scares me about Acuna is if he doesn't get all those steals, his value drops significantly. I mean, it's not like he's a bench player. Like he drops from a top 2 player to a top 20 player.
And also to preface this, y'all, this is not a keeper league either. So this is one and done. And so, the other thing about Acuna that worries me as a Braves fan and a fantasy fan, and I do have him in a couple of leagues, but that's just because I'm a Braves. I know I'm going to watch them all the time. So I'm always going to hedge towards, a Brave over something else because I know I'm going to watch them. But he's not the disciplined hitter that Mookie Betts, Juan Soto. I'm not going to put Tatis there yet because he hasn't even played a full 162 games in his career. But those two are much more disciplined, accomplished hitters at this point. And so and what I'm saying is that he gives up at bats all the time. And it's frustrating as a Braves fan, but then he'll hit one over the wall and you're like, okay, this is great. We have him, gotta love Acuna, da, 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 da. But then he'll go through a stretch where he's just giving up at bats. And you're like, oh God, would you quit swinging at the first pitch? Can you make the pitcher work a little bit? So I'll be interested to see where y'all go with that. I think the 4th pick is David Vilmo, and David's not going to pick anyone but Acuna if he's sitting there. I don't know where he'll go with his 4th pick, but I know that if Acuna were to sit there, he would be jumping up and down. And then Michael's got the 5th pick. He's a Red Sox fan, but there's not really a Red Sox that you would draft in that position. Then there I sit at 6, and I'm going to pretty much pick up. I'm thinking I'm going to end up with DeGrom, which isn't a bad thing to end up with because he's the best pitcher. And I'd rather have the best pitcher than like the 5th or 6th best hitter,
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on from that, the drafts that took place over the weekend were there guys that you wish you had gotten, and then also were there guys out there that you were like, dude, I stayed away from that clown. I don't want anything to do with him this year.
Yeah, well, no, like not really in terms of like that, but I mean, like 2 of the guys I really stayed away from were the top 2 Dodgers pitchers, Bauer and Buehler. I'm just especially since we were doing a lot of auctions, I'm not going to be spending top dollar pitcher money on someone who is not going to essentially even have a full workload. I mean, they are so like Dave Roberts is so concerned with that with the innings that if I have a choice between say Cole and DeGrom and one of those 2, you're getting the same strikeout upside with 30 more innings. It's a no-brainer. I also tried to stay away from Cubs. I mean, I was hoping to get maybe like Bryant or maybe Rizzo and Baez at a discount, but they all went for full price. So I was happy to stay away from them. The 2 that got away from me, Corbin Burns, I was really looking at him as a kind of like a breakout candidate, but he was going the prices he went for.
He went higher than I thought he would.
I know that that's why that's why I stayed away. I was like, I saw that auction bid just jumping and jumping and jumping, and I just stepped away from the computer.
In all the drafts that I was in, I didn't get him in one league, I don't believe. And I actually had him high up. I wouldn't call him a sleeper because he's fairly highly ranked going into the draft. But I felt like that of all the pitchers that were sitting there, he wasn't the household name that people were going to jump on. I'm looking at him right now. I'm trying to find just a ballpark. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm not going to count out loud. I'm thinking he's top 25 pitchers. But
yeah,
I felt
down there. He's
I felt like
Woodruff.
Yeah, I felt like that he could have commanded into the top 20. But he was going even higher than that in a lot of the drafts that I was in. So that surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, I didn't want to pay. I just don't want to pay the price for him. I mean, he's a great player, but sometimes you just have to know when to stay away from things.
Speaking of fantasy, Mike Soroka will make his first debut today. They expect him to pitch 1 or 2 innings. So he's probably going to miss about a month. No matter what they tell you, they're trying to sunshine it and sugarcoat it. He's going to miss about a month of the season. So that's why he's dropped dramatically, because then what if he has God forbid, but what if he has a setback? Then you're going to be talking about 2 months of the season gone. And if you would have drafted him fairly high, that's a chunk of the season. I don't even like to lose a guy for an entire month, because I feel like that could, it's one thing if you pick up a guy at the flyer at the end of the draft, but considering where Soroka is going to get drafted, I think he's being overvalued at this point, because you're going to miss quite a bit of the season. And because we have so many Braves fans in our leagues, he tends to go higher than he should. So I don't know what your take on Soroka is, but even when he's healthy, he's not a strikeout pitcher.
No,
he'll get a handful of strikeouts, but he doesn't go mowing down the line. He's not a Garrett Cole or something like that. He's an old school pitcher that tries to pitch to contact onto the ground and let his defense do the work.
He's a cheap man's Kyle Hendricks, like in this day and age.
Yeah, I'd say he's got a fastball a little harder, but he doesn't have much of a. First of all, he doesn't have the Bugs Bunny curveball that Hendricks does.
Oh yeah,
and then he doesn't miss a lot of bats. He misses the barrel, which is the important part. He's a great analytics pitcher, but that doesn't equate into a great fantasy pitcher. No. So I expect him to go very high tonight, because David's in the draft, and David's going to draft him high because David drafts every freaking Brave he can get his hands on. You know what he actually said to me last night when I called him about all this nonsense that was going on? He said, so you moved the draft he wasn't talking about last night's draft. He was talking about the ones that happened yesterday, Sunday. You moved the draft up a week? I said, dude, do you think we're going to draft this coming Sunday? He goes, yeah. I was like, the season starts on Thursday. He goes, oh, yeah, that's bad on me. He thought the draft was on April 5th. I was like, dude, that's Easter. Not only is it Easter, but the season would have already started. I'm not going to never would I put a draft on Easter. I can tell you that right now. My wife will put up with a lot of things. But that's not one of the things she'll put up with. Easter. I mean, who are we, Little Nas over here trying to freaking sell you drips of blood in our shoes? Ugh, what a creep. Are there any guys? Here's an interesting question. Any guys sitting on your roster that you drafted, you're like, why the hell did I draft him? I didn't mean to do it, or I panicked last second. I just grabbed him, and I'm like, I drafted him way too high. Are there any regrets on your side? I'm trying to go through mine. I know I've got some.
Yeah, so in both my big auction leagues, I kind of really underspent, and in that big dynasty league, I'm in with Sean. In my last outfield spot, I was trying to force someone else to pick up a crappy player, so I nominated Nick Senzel, and nobody bid on him. So that's how my last outfield spot got filled, and I'm pretty sure there were a couple top 20, maybe top 30 options out there. So
that's not good at all. I got one for you. Not that he's terrible, but he's long in the tooth now. I don't even know how old he is nowadays. How old is Charlie Blackmon?
Probably 36, 37.
That's what I was thinking. I'm trying to find his date of birth. All right, so he'll be 35 this year. Okay, I actually thought he was older. And he's a solid hitter. Don't get me wrong. But when y'all still had a lot of cash left on the table, I think Sean, and then it was mainly to get Rocky Top to auto draft because he already had way too many position players. And I put Charlie Blackmon out there because Charlie Blackmon's a decent candidate. And I thought for sure that's not where I was going with my team. I got him for $1. And yes, that was in theory a good value, but that's not where I was going with it because I wanted someone with a little more flexibility at the position. In other words, I wanted someone who could play more than just one outfield because he was essentially going to be a bench player possibly. And I was like, are you serious? And and Doug and Will are laughing at me. They're like, I was like, no one bids on Charlie Blackmon. I was like, it's $1. I was like, this is terrible. This is not the way I wanted it to go. Tyler Mahle is the other one.
Yeah, I was wondering about that one.
Bro, I was trying to run the freaking price up. I thought either Doug or Captain Auto Draft was going to get him, and I got screwed. I don't even remember what I had to pay for him. I don't know if you can look that up on this thing.
Yeah, on the app, there's a draft tab, and they'll tell you all the prices.
Okay. I want to say it was in the $15 to $17 range, and I did not want to waste $15 to $17 on Tyler Mahle.
And he was your second. He was like the third player on your team. It wasn't even like a later pick.
It was not. Now I feel obligated to keep this jerk off all year. I'm hoping he gets hot and I can trade him to like Doug, who's a Reds fan or something, because I'm like, this is just absurd that I have to freaking God, check this out. I know it was Shohei Ohtani too, like $1 one, and he got absolutely pounded last night. It's showing now that he was pulled because of a blister to his right middle finger.
Oh.
So they don't even know if he'll pitch on opening night for him. He was supposed to be the Sunday night baseball guy, which would have been fun to watch him go up against the White Sox.
Yeah.
I got him cheap. I think I got him for $1. I know I didn't pay much for him, but I really didn't want him because I don't have faith that he's going to see the mound regularly. So those would be my two that there's other ones later in the draft that I'm like, I know these guys won't be on my team later on, but I feel obligated to keep Tyler Mahle for at least a month now because now he might surprise me, but I'm not expecting him to do great things.
No.
Let's go ahead and switch gears and get to your playoff predictions for 2021. First quarter of the Armchair Quarterbacks, and we're going to dive in to Steven's 2021 predictions, Steven, I am keeping up with these, by the way. I'm writing them all down so that when we get to September, we can all look like fools. So let me bust out the clipboard here so I can, and if we ever want to reference it, I am going to keep it in one area so I know exactly where the damn thing is. There's been times where I've done this before and then I can't find it. I'm going to keep it right behind me. So if you're ever curious what you predicted, it'll be right behind me. I'm not moving it. Where are you going with the American League? American League East this year.
I'm just gonna bite the bullet and assume the Yankees are gonna win it. The Rays are a little bit weak from last year. The Red Sox are still they're a few years away from truly competing again. I think the Blue Jays are close, but not quite there. And then the Orioles are the Orioles. I think Yankees take the AL East with ease.
Okay, and the AL Central.
AL Central, I've got the White Sox, but that feels like a very wide open division after that. It feels like one of those divisions where whoever comes out of there second is going to get the wild card, and they could make some noise in the playoffs. But I'm going Chicago for now.
All right, so you're going to go with the White Sox, the Yankees.
Yep.
And for the AL West.
AL West, I'm going the Athletics. That is also a very weak division.
Yeah, it is. I'm not buying the everyone's default is to the Astros, and I just don't buy it. I just don't. I think they've lost a lot, and you got guys like Correa who's going to be playing for a contract. So is he going to give it his all to try to win, or is he going to try to stay healthy? So yeah, I'm a little skeptical on that. And also, I think it had a lot to do with the pressure of getting popped by the story that came out with them cheating, and it was a shortened season, et cetera, et cetera. But Jose Altuve had a terrible year last year.
Uh-huh.
Not just bad. He had a terrible year. He fell off a cliff. I'm really skeptical on having him in fantasy. I think I have him in a league, and it was by like default. I got stuck. It wasn't one of the Sunday leagues. I believe it was.
Here.
It was one of those ones where I was like, oh, crap, I got to get a second baseman, and everyone was staying away from him. And it was one of my more competitive leagues. And they knew. And so it was like between him and I don't forget who the other second baseman was. It was like Jose Altuve and Kike Hernandez were available. And you're like, well, crap, I guess I'll go with Altuve. I'm very skeptical on how the Astros are going to bounce back into 2021, especially now that fans can boo them, and how's that going to affect them? Yeah. So your American League wild cards are who?
I got the Rays over the Angels.
Rays and Angels. Okay. And we go to the National League East, and who is your flavor there?
It hurts, but I have the Braves coming out on top.
Man, you are all putting the kiss of death on us. Keep waiting for someone to say, give me the Mets or give me the Nationals.
I'm playing.
I'm not a believer in the Phillies. They can sell that crap all they want to the media, but I am not buying this. What about the NL Central?
NL Central, I'm pulling the surprise and going the Reds.
Wow. Okay. What's your reasonings there?
I feel like I'm a year off with that team in general. Castellanos, I think he's going to break out big time, and he may be in the MVP conversation. They have a pretty solid lineup. Still have some pretty okay enough pitching. I don't see much competition from the rest of the NL Central.
That is a bit of a surprise. And your National League West?
Dodgers.
And who gets the wild cards?
Padres over Cardinals.
Oh, man, are they going to be pissed off in New York if they don't even get a wild card?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I was listening to New York radio this morning, and they were evidently, man, Francisco Lindor has made it known that he's looking for 12 years, $385 million, and he was given an offer by Cohen that he made public of over $300 million. I don't know how many years it was, but it was over $300 million. And at his age, who gives a damn? You sign it, you get your $300 million. Doesn't matter, by the end, you're not going to be worth whatever they're paying you, right? And he's holding it for 12-3. He is. Am I crazy? I don't think he's worth that.
I think no. I think he's a good enough player. It's just when you have so many good shortstops in the league that it's hard to justify paying one of them that much money.
Well, what I'm saying is that's Mookie Betts kind of money, right? And
technically, Giancarlo Stanton money. Mookie Betts didn't Betts get more?
Yeah, but Giancarlo Stanton was just a terrible decision. It was a terrible decision by the Marlins, and it's even a worse decision by the Yankees to take it on.
Yep.
But that I don't see Francisco Lindor being Mookie Betts. I just don't. He's not a guy that can electrify and carry a team. He can be a part of a good offense and be a very good part of a good offense. But Betts is a game changer. And plus, Betts is phenomenal in the field as well, too. Not that Lindor's not, but with the shift, that's kind of been if they're going to have the shift for the next 5 to 10 years, you don't need a very good defensive shortstop because they're usually playing deep or shallow right field, scooping up balls there and gunning people out at first. You don't need a guy who can go lateral left and right because that's been pretty much taken out of the game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he's not worth a penny, but he's not worth 385. I mean, that is ridiculous. I think he'll be 26 or 27. So he goes to hit the open market. He thinks someone's going to give him that. So when he's damn near 40 years old, they're still paying $30-something million a year. Who do you have in the World Series and who do you have winning it?
In the World Series, I've got the Braves and the Yankees making it. I think this is the year Atlanta puts it all together. I don't see the Dodgers getting back to the World Series. We've seen how hard that's been in the recent years. So I'm going Braves. I'm going the Braves over the Yankees to win the title.
Just
ensuring that it will not happen.
Damn it. You're the second person to pick the freaking Braves. I like it even better that's going against the Yankees. I would love to kick the crap out of the Yankees in the World Series. So that's a bill that's been overdue for 25 years. Who do you got for the Cy Youngs and the MVPs?
Cy Young, I'm going easy, sticking to DeGrom. I'm going to go in the AL. I'm going to go Giolito though. I think this is the year he fully puts it all together.
And your MVPs?
MVPs, I'm going to go Castellanos in the NL, and I'm going to go. That's a tough one from the AL, but I'll go easy there and go Trout. Can never go wrong with that pick.
So far, Justin has taken the White Sox to win it all. Doug over the Dodgers. Doug has taken Atlanta to beat the White Sox, and you've got the Braves beating the Yankees. Sean and I will do ours tomorrow. I'll give you one sneak preview. I've got a wild card shocker, and I'll go ahead and tell you what it is today. I'm going to take the Kansas City Royals to make the playoffs in 2021 as a wild card. And
I am fully on board with that. Like I was saying, that AL Central feels like one of those teams can sneak in as a wild card and they can really make some noise.
I believe that they're young enough, they're exciting enough, and there's going to be wins to be had out there in that division. And then to top it off, Cleveland's going to fall back down dramatically, I believe. And the Twins and the White Sox, I just feel like one of those two teams, and I won't reveal it today, I'll talk about it tomorrow. One of those two teams is not going to live up to its preseason hype. So I'm going to take Kansas City to get in there on a flyer, because the problem with taking a team like in the AL East is that you've got three really good teams there with Toronto, Tampa, and New York. They might beat each other up like they tend to do. And I don't think Boston's as bad as people think they're going to be.
No, I mean like that reason right there is exactly like why I'm picking the Braves to win the NL. I mean, I just think it's going to be a bloodbath between those final four teams. Like Braves will have like a 5 to 10 game lead over the rest, but then the rest will be separated by like 7 games.
And of course, with all this being said, all these teams are going to look different at going into August because there will be trades and whatnot. So it's really hard to predict baseball compared to other sports because they change. Yep. But I do believe Atlanta still has some money left on the table for their budget for 2021. And I firmly believe that it's being held for the trade season, because when Anthopoulos made the comment when Ozuna signed that this gives us more money to maybe do some things in the bullpen, everyone assumed that meant free agency. But I think he's waiting to see what the market looks like in July so that you can get a better feel and maybe go out and get a shutdown closer or some pieces together if Will Smith or Chris Martin are already doing the job well. They're going to be I think that's going to be a double-headed monster in the closing rotation until they make a trade for somebody. So we're coming up on the end of it. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
2 days away from opening day. Good luck, everyone, and let's have a great season.
All right, brother. It was great seeing you again. We'll see you next week. We'll be in the middle of the season. We'll really get into some fantasy baseball, and hopefully everything goes well tonight, and we'll get the draft kicking 8:15 Eastern.
Yep. Sounds good. Have a good day.
All right, brother. We're going to be back in a flash on the Armchair Quarterbacks. When we come back, we got a couple things we got to dive into as the half the Final Four is set. And also, we're going to look at the first big series going into week 1 of the Major League Baseball season. There's some pretty good series and what to look for in that. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. You're listening to CBS Sports Radio.
Okay, you guys, look, I know this is none of my business, but I have to ask. What's Sheldon's deal?
What do you mean deal?
You know, like, what's his deal? Is it girls, guys, sock puppets?
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays, streaming on the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Download it today. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
If I could get out of this place.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by The Best Things in Life, which are still free with minimum purchase at participating dealers.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
What do you believe in then?
Well, I believe in the soul, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber, good scotch, that the novels of Susan Sontag are self-indulgent, overrated crap. I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. And I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days.
Oh, my.
Armchair.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Get your morning started off right. Weekdays with the Armchair Quarterbacks, riding shotgun with you wherever you're heading.
Early in the morning, I say good morning. Hello, and how are you?
Armchair.
He only has 3 rings.
I'm 7-0 this season. You auto-drafted. That's what all the great GMs do. They delegate. You didn't do anything. Yeah, I did. I set the cue.
Without fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
I almost wore shorts today. Oh. I was going to do a sweatshirt shorts combo. Switched to pants instead.
Armchair.
Dread running to the post office? Stamps.com brings post office and UPS services right to your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and get up to 40% off USPS and up to 62% off UPS rates. Nearly 1 million small businesses use Stamps.com to save time and money. It's a no-brainer. So skip the post office.
All right, sorry about that. I fat fingered something on this thing, and anyways, long story short, that just cut that short. So let's go ahead and get it rolling. Good morning, CBS Sports Radio. Just trying to look up to see what's going on with the folks in Middle Tennessee. I'm gonna post on Facebook and a couple other places to see if I can get a response from some folks. Michael's asked about it, and I didn't see that they had gotten the record rainfall that they'd gotten, 7 inches in about a 24 or so hour span. So there's some flooding in Nashville, evidently. We do have a lot of Middle Tennessee people that watch the show, come on to the show. Justin's still in Colorado, so he's fine. I'm hoping that his house is fine, but they're in Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro doesn't tend to flood as much because it kind of sits on the mountain. The reason why Nashville floods more than where I spent most of my time, which is Murfreesboro, it's right outside the city of Nashville, is because Murfreesboro kind of sits up on a mountain. Now they are more susceptible to get snow than Nashville, not by much, and they are more susceptible to get hit with strong winds. You know, when Nashville got just hammered by that tornado last year, that was weird. It's more likely to happen in the Murfreesboro area, but I'm gonna put the feelers out there and see if and I do know this, but this is not Nashville related. One of the listeners on the show, I think he's called in before, but him and his wife posted on Friday or Saturday that when they were in Waynesboro, Alabama, which is northern Alabama, her parents' house was wrecked by a tornado, and she was posting the pictures on it, and basically when she came on about the actual incident, it sounded worse than when you saw the pictures, but they did have extensive damage on the exterior of the house. I believe that they have lost power, and that was the biggest thing, is not being able to figure out a way to do your everyday basic things, right? Like, shower with, because you're going to need hot water for that. You're going to need electricity to cook and whatnot. So I believe at first I thought there was, I do believe one vehicle got hurt, but I'm looking at the pictures now. I believe the actual house itself is okay, but that was not, there was a tree that went straight through the car, and I don't know whose car that was. I don't know if it was his wife's car. His name's Chris, and we'll reference him every once in a while. Lawson, and he's called into the show, years ago. I don't know if he's done it since we've done CBS Radio, because he works in the morning, and where he works at, he can't really communicate like that. But I do believe that he still listens to the show, because he'll reference things to me every once in a while. But I don't know whose car that is, but it got cut in half essentially by a tree, but at least the house was okay. It's a lot easier to live without your car than it is to live without your house, right? So I'm going to keep y'all updated with that. And when I find out more about the Nashville floods and what's going on, by the way, what the living hell is this crap with? Oh, now it's coming out that Nike's going to sue the rapper Lil Nas X. I don't even know what the hell that means. Over his Satan shoes that he's came out with, because they have real blood in the soles. Now, I don't know what they mean by that when they say they have real blood. It can't be the entire damn thing be filled with blood. Because what if you get one little freaking shoes crack? You're gonna be your shoes gonna be bleeding all over the damn place. But what he's done, he's come up with these Satan shoes, and it's just absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And they went on sale. I'm looking at this right now on Monday for $1,000 a pair, $1,018. I don't know if that's got something to do because they're decorated with the pentagram and a reference to the 10:18 Bible verse about Satan's fall from heaven. But Nike now wants to sue because they've got a drop of human blood. Whatever. You knew what the hell they was doing. Put that aside, because he's probably just putting one little bitty drop or whatever. It's probably from some intern that they're forcing to, prick their finger, and now you technically have human blood in there, which is so creepy. It's also dumb. If it's his, you take his shoe, you cut that sucker open, you go commit a crime somewhere, and you leave his blood at the scene. That's what now we're talking turkey. But it's just disgusting. It's another reason I will never purchase Nike stuff again. And it's one of the reasons why I'm wearing this shirt today. It's got the little Nike swoosh on it. My wife bought this for me 3-4 years ago, and I told her, I don't like Nike. I don't want Nike on my stuff. And I wore it to, so I would remember. I don't like it on my stuff because even before the thing that happened with LeBron James and the Nike jerseys over in China and what they're putting the people of Hong Kong through, LeBron James, the rest of the NBA bootlicking the Chinese government, even before that junk, Nike has routinely done terrible things. And people continue to buy their damn stuff. And you're buying, there's nothing special that I can see on these shoes. There's just a black tennis shoe with red at the bottom to look all, ooh, I'm evil. And then there's a pentagram at the top. But what loser is spending $1,000 a pair on these? And if you tell me it's the atheist, I don't know if I believe that, because if you are an atheist, you don't believe God exists to begin with. So why the hell would you believe the devil exists, right? One can't exist without the other. If you are a Christian, you believe in the Almighty, you also believe in Satan. But if you don't believe in a higher being, if you're more into the science side of it, you don't believe in the bad part of what they call the fairy tale if you're not going to believe in what the good part is. So it doesn't make sense that they would buy it. So is there that many satanic worshipers out there with this much money in their pocket? I guess they sold their soul. That's how they got their money. But anyways, this disgusted me yesterday. I saw this and I told my wife, I said, please don't ever buy anything with Nike on it again. Because I am just fed up and disgusted with this company. I'm going to find a way to see if I can get rid of this swoosh logo. But if I can't, then I'm just going to get rid of the shirt because I can't wear this anymore. It feels dirty, and they will do anything for the almighty dollar. And that's completely what I have been against since the day I started doing radio. If I would have bootlicked and been the company yes man years ago, I could have probably been in the ESPN family, but I have never taken that route. I have always believed that you say and you talk what you believe in, and no one tells you otherwise. I've had a couple of radio stations that I've worked for over the years that have kind of tried to, I'm not going to say censor, that might be too strong of a word, but try to direct my narrative in a different direction. And I've told them routinely I won't do it. So this is how we ended up as an independent radio show. This thing with Nike is disgusting. And they would be up there with the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas as far as major things that I will not spend my money on anymore. Pepsi, because they continue to give their money to organizations I don't believe in, and we'll leave it at that. And then, of course, Coca-Cola with what they pulled about a month or so ago, and that's been well documented. We don't have to go over that again. But Nike, this is disgusting. And now they want to put a phony lawsuit saying that because there's a drop of blood, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I don't really care about that. I care about the fact that you let this guy have a shoe with a pentagram, Luke 10:18 on there. It's disgusting. And people know me. I'm not overly religious. I don't beat that into people's consciousness, because I feel like it's up to you on how you want to believe and how you want to pursue your life. But to intentionally try to, there's no other word for it, emotionally assault Christians in the United States, there's no reason for it. There's no reason to put out. Would I have a problem if Tebow had an anti version, meaning if he had a cross? No, I wouldn't, because he's celebrating his religion. Just like I wouldn't have a problem if Nike put out one that was celebrating the Jewish faith or the Muslim faith. You're celebrating it. But if you're willing to do the opposite end of what these religions were intended for with this, then where does it end? Where does Nike end? I mean, are they going to start putting out shoes that promote terrorism, that promote the extremist versions of certain religions we're all aware of that terrorize the world? Where does it end, Nike? I can't do it. Anyways, I'll get off that soapbox. It's been bothering me. I saw it about 20 minutes after the show ended yesterday, and it was on the news channel, and I was like, what am I looking at? So I read a couple of articles on it, and I've seen it over and over again, and now they're saying that Nike wants to freaking, I mean, I don't even get that. You're going to sue someone for putting this type of thing out when you know damn good and well that essentially what they were doing from the get-go was, it's not a shock that this is what happened, that they even upped it a bit. If it's even true about the human blood in there, but I don't even care if that's true or not true. So it's going to be the smallest drop, and it's just something that they can say, oh, there's actually, I don't know who this Nas character is. I don't know what his music is. He's obviously a terrible person, and he's obviously someone who is just a shock jock version of, I'm assuming he's a rapper, because I believe I've seen that thrown out there. But he's just doing this for the shock value. I understand that. But Nike didn't have to be the one that put it out there. Nike could have said, nah, dude, that's too freaking crazy. What are you, nuts? We're not putting that out there. They didn't take that stand because they see the almighty dollar. Yeah, they sold out. There's always some freak out there that thinks they're going to shock you. I'll tell you one thing. If I had a friend that bought these shoes and wore them out with me, that would be the last time I would call this person said friend. I don't want to be associated with that. Anyways, we'll move on. Let's quit talking about that freaking loser. And let's get into a couple things that went on overnight. If you missed it, Baylor did hold on and beat Arkansas. Baylor got out to a huge lead, and then Arkansas trimmed the lead going into the half. Excuse me. Baylor won 81-72. Houston beats Oregon State 67-61. So they are set to meet each other in the Final Four. You get Houston versus Baylor, and I, for one, am excited about that matchup. I think that is going to be an incredible matchup. Tonight, USC Gonzaga. We're going to find out what Gonzaga is made of, because Southern Cal has looked very good. And if they blow the doors off of Southern Cal, I will start becoming a true believer of Gonzaga. And then tonight, UCLA versus Michigan. I wish the thing wasn't so late. I'm going to have to just try to get up tomorrow morning and watch the second half, because I cannot stay up till freaking I did it last night. I watched the end of that game, and I woke up this morning, I was just dragging. I was like, I can't do this again, man. So UCLA, Michigan, I plan on getting up tomorrow morning and watching it, but it's going to be played at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Tonight. So people are just nuts if they think that I'm going to stay up consecutive nights on a Monday night and Tuesday night. See, it was so much different when you do this on Thursday and Friday, because on Thursday you stay up late and you'll pay the piper on Friday, but then you know that on Saturday morning you get to sleep in a little bit, even if it's an hour or two, and so you catch up on your sleep and you don't feel drained. This is absolutely asinine and ridiculous, and I hope they realize what kind of a buffoonery decision this was. The games set for Saturday are going to be, it looks like Houston Baylor is going to be the second game is what it's being looked at. I don't have the exact times yet. Usually they're somewhere like around, they used to be 6 and 8:30, but it seems like they're pushing them back nowadays. So we'll see what times those tip off. I like the 6 and 8:30 because I'm a believer that you get the audience locked in early, and then they'll make a night of it. If you wait till 8 o'clock and then you do the other one at 10 o'clock or 10:30, what you're going to do is you're going to give people an opportunity on a Saturday evening to make plans elsewhere. And then go, oh yeah, I forgot about that game. And they might catch like 15 minutes of it at a restaurant or something, right? You make it early, you can kind of build your day around it. So I'm hoping for the fans' sake that those games go off a little early. If you get a Gonzaga UCLA game, I think if Gonzaga and UCLA make it, I think you're going to see really bad ratings for the Final Four this year. Because, or USC UCLA. Though the big college basketball fan in me is going to watch it, your average fan with that in Houston and Baylor, they're just not going to care about a bunch of West Coast teams. Michigan is the last thing they remotely have of the East Coast. So I think CBS is pulling for Michigan. Nothing against UCLA. UCLA's got a great brand in basketball. But if you get Gonzaga on one end, UCLA on the other, or USC versus UCLA, then that really centralizes the fandom in California. And if it's Gonzaga, UCLA, you're talking about as opposed to having your second largest city in Los Angeles locked in and paying attention to this, you get Gonzaga, they have no population where they're at. Gonzaga, Michigan would probably be the best thing for the Final Four, but USC, Michigan would be a lot of fun too. So there you have that. I hate to tell you people who are Bruins fans, but CBS is pulling against you. And it's mainly because you got Houston and Baylor and the other ones. And my God, even though Houston is a big time city, it's not a big time program. And Baylor, so you're going to have one championship from the state of Texas. You might get the other one from the state of California. And so people over here in the East Coast are like, good for you, man, but don't really care. Luckily, baseball season will be rolling. So let's go into that because the games, the series that we're going to get on opening day. By the way, today, once again, we're going to get Mike Soroka on the mound for the first time since his injury. So I'm excited to see that. It's at 1:00. They only expect him to pitch 1, maybe 2 innings. I want to see it because I want to see what he looks like coming back from that injury. And plus, it's a good story. It's a feel-good story to see the guy come back this quickly. And if he can be back within the first couple of months, I think the Braves are going to take kid gloves to this kid. He's too young to rush him out there. So for people who draft him in fantasy, I'm telling you, he's too young to go out there and think that they're going to have him or that you're going to have him on the roster in the month of April, and the month of May might be too over zealous. If I'm Atlanta, I take kid gloves. I build them up 1, maybe 2 innings today. I wait about a week and I pitch them 3 innings in a simulated game wherever they're going to be hanging out at. I'm going to stretch it because remember, the minor leagues aren't even going to start until May. I think I want him pitching at least 1 game in May in the minor leagues, maybe even 2, because all the adrenaline, get that crap out of his system. And then he comes up to Atlanta. I'm circling May 15th is the over-under for the Soroka. And I think it's going to be later. I really do. But Braves versus Red Sox, that is going to be available on ESPN Plus if you have the Plus. And then it is also on MLB.TV. If you have MLB.TV, it's the free game of the day, so you can just go to the website. I believe is how that works. I have the package because I want to watch the Braves all the time, but I think you can just go to the website and watch it. Also, if you have YouTube TV, I've noticed that all the free games of the day of MLB.TV, they're starting to pop up. So that's cool. That's different. That didn't happen last year. So they've obviously worked out some kind of a rights fees with that. So there are 4 games free today. You got Braves, Red Sox, you got Brewers, Rangers, Indians, Diamondbacks, and then Angels versus Dodgers. All those games are free today. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3:40, and then the late one, 9 o'clock. I'm sure by 9 o'clock, you're either going to be heading towards bed or you're going to be up watching the college basketball. There's not a lot of, I did watch a little bit of the Angels Dodgers yesterday because I wanted to see Ohtani because I got stuck with him in that one draft and he looked absolutely freaking terrible. So there you go there. But as far as the Brewers, Rangers, and Indians, Diamondbacks, I don't have a listing for their starting pitching because they kind of do those on the fly this time of year. And so those games, I'll flip over to see what's going on. If there is an available, if there's a pitcher out there that I want to see, I'll probably flip over. They are letting their starters play much deeper into the games, by the way, if you're wondering about that. Because these teams want to get their starting pitchers ready, their relievers ready and warmed up. And then the teams also want to get their batters accustomed to seeing the same thing. You want to get your Xander Bogaerts in there because you want to make sure that he is seeing a Mike Soroka, Tyler Matzik coming out of the pen, could be Will Smith, whoever. You want him to see those pitchers because that's the type of pitching he's going to see on Thursday. You don't want this to all of a sudden be a shock to the system where he's been facing double-A pitchers in spring training. He rolls out of bed on Thursday, and he's just knee buckled by an average breaking ball. So that's what we got going on there. But as far as the actual series going into this weekend, we got a lot of fun stuff to Michael said that Nas did the rap country song. I don't know what that is. You're gonna have to be more specific, Michael. I have no idea what the rap country song is. They haven't made country in 25 years, and I haven't listened to rap, and I haven't listened to rap in almost 30 years. So I don't know what the rap country song is. But anyways, the series starting off on Thursday, Blue Jays versus Yankees. That's a good one. Yeah, Ryu versus Cole. But that's a great litmus test for that entire division. The Blue Jays are being looked upon as a dark horse to possibly make the playoffs. And if they can make the playoffs, or if they're going to make the playoffs, we'll put it that way, they're going to have to beat the Yankees. And so that's a great litmus test. It's in New York. So it's a 4-game series, I believe. Some of these might take Friday off, but that's a great opening series. Orioles, Red Sox. It's a good starting series for Red Sox fans. That's a beatable team in Baltimore. If you could win in Baltimore, win against the Orioles, and I don't believe the Red Sox are as bad as advertised. Even if they finish 4th or 3rd in the division, I don't think it's going to be like 30 games out of first like everyone's thinking. I think the Red Sox are going to compete because they have a lot of solid C+ and B- players on their team. And if they can just hang in there, Chris Sale is going to be there by around end of July, early August. And then, so that's like adding a huge trade chip. And if you can make a run, even if you don't make the playoffs, I've said this for years, if my team can at least keep me entertained through the entire summer, I'm happy. It sucks when your team is out of it by like Memorial Day. Braves and Phillies, that game's at 3:05 on the opening day, and that's a fun one. That's a fun series. The Braves go in as the favorite to win the division. Phillies are big-time underdogs. Most people have them around 4th in the division. Max Fried versus Aaron Nola, first game. That is big-time stuff. And that should be a great opening weekend series. Jack Flaherty versus Luis Castillo at the 4:00, the Cardinals versus Reds. This is another big series. These are two teams that are looked upon as possible favorites. I don't agree with Steven. I don't think the Reds are going to win the division. In my head, the Reds are 4th best team in that division. Maybe the 3rd. They might beat out the Cubs. But if they're going to do it, they got to start with day one and go after the Cardinals, because that's the prohibitive favorite in that division. Rays Marlins, that should be a lot of fun. I would like to see this more where Tampa Bay and Miami open the season against each other. It gives the state of Florida a rooting interest, a lot of fun to watch. So look forward to that one. And the other series that are out there, I'm not going to pay attention to Dodgers Rockies. Dodgers are going to roll over the Rockies. I'm not worried about that. Mets Nationals, that should be a fun one. That's a 7:00 ESPN game on opening day. And DeGrom versus Scherzer doesn't get any better than that. And those are two of the teams I think we're going to be fighting to the top with the Atlanta Braves. And then A's host the Astros. We finally get that. And I don't know if I think California's going to have fans in the stands. I think that's what we saw. So if we're going to have fans in the stands, the A's fans get to boo the Astros for the first time. Because remember, that's where it all began. That's where it all began. It was Mike Fiers diming out the Astros, who he pitched for, saying, hey, we cheated. And that's a look at your opening series. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even Twins Brewers. I skated over that. Twins Brewers is actually a pretty good one too. It's not a divisional rivalry, so you don't like that. But what you do like is the fact that the Brewers could be a team that could compete for the division, and the Twins are the prohibitive favorites to win the division. So Twins Brewers. That should be a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead and turn back time, and we'll get the hell out of here. I'm sure I'll find out down the road what the country rap song means. I don't really know what that means, but it's got to be something that can be somewhat interesting, I would think. I feel like all country songs are rap songs now. I'm dating myself, but country music has not been, in my opinion, interesting for years. Entertaining for years. Just hasn't. Okay. Turn back time and let's get the hell out of here. So tomorrow, by the way, Sean O'Toole will be with me all show long. We'll be back to a regular hour and a half show, 90-minute show. And then we'll be back. We'll be doing 90-minute shows the rest of the week. Okay, turn back time. Here we go. I'll be glad when baseball season starts because you get a lot better turn back times when the season's going on. Right now, man, there's some rough ones out there. You get a lot of Final Four ones, but you don't get any great ones. Okay. On this date in 1981, Indiana beats North Carolina 63-50. As Isaiah Thomas is named the tournament most outstanding player, Hoosiers win 63-50 against the North Carolina Tar Heels, 1981. I don't quite remember that one. It's the following year is the one that really sticks out with me as the beginning of me watching basketball in 82. And also on this date in 1992, a man accidentally backs into Oakland A's Jose Canseco's Lamborghini, and it made big time news on that. Speaking of that, there's a ex-Jaguar that bought a brand new Ferrari yesterday. And I know this because he's a friend of the show. He now plays for the Jets. You can connect the dots. He's not one of the more higher paid players in the league. He's talking about wanting to buy property now out on the water, et cetera, et cetera. And look, he's made a decent amount of little money. But I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, man, I hope he does not become one of these cautionary tales, because he's at that point where I think he's going to max out. He's never come off to me as a guy that's ever going to get a big time contract. And do y'all remember Marquise Lee that used to play for the Jaguars? Lee turned down an opportunity to sign with the Raiders recently. I found this out. He's going to wait till after the draft to see who needs a receiver. He lives in Las Vegas. And I told my wife, I said, what the hell is he doing? Because she knows a lot of these kids because they come to her office to lease and to buy cars, and it's a whole thing that they do with the Jaguars. I won't get into it, but I'm like, what are these kids doing? It's an absolute pathetic thing that they have going on there. You are going to turn down a chance to not only get an NFL contract, but you don't even have to move. You'll be playing in your hometown. And maybe that just tells you how much he doesn't like living with whoever he lives with. I'm not 100% sure of his living arrangement. But my God, get another apartment in the city. You would be living in your hometown, playing for a team that puts the ball in the air, and you would have had a contract. It may not have been a great contract, but the guy hasn't played. He didn't have much. Lee didn't have that great of a career so far anyways. He didn't play because of COVID, and he didn't play in the year before because of injury. He played like very sparingly. He didn't play at all the year before. So he hasn't really played in the National Football League since 2018. What are you doing? You're going to hold out. The music's going to stop and there's going to be no chairs to sit down. All right. I'm off that soapbox. I couldn't believe that when I heard that yesterday. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
All right.
I guess I'll try to explain that on this day. It was the first time.
Happy birthday. Man, is he really 30? Actually, I thought he would be older now that I think about it. Richard Sherman is 31 years old today. No, I'm sorry, 33 years old. Okay, that makes more sense. Actually, if you were asking me how old Richard Sherman is, I would have guessed 35 plus. At 33 years old, he still might have a few more good years left in him. I always found him entertaining. He's done some stupid things over the years, but all in all, I like Sherman. He's entertaining. Some of the things, he takes some dumb stance sometimes, but he's funny. And this is also the 81st birthday of Mr. Jerry Lucas, NBA center, played for the New York Knicks. So happy birthday to those two gentlemen. And with that being said, we'll be back tomorrow. Sean will too be with us. We're going to do our Major League Baseball predictions. I'll react to tonight's draft. God willing, there won't be more screw-ups on my end on that. And we should have a great show tomorrow. We're going to do predictions. We're also going to look at the Final Four because that'll be set. So that's my walk-off for the day is watch your Final Four. Should be a good couple of games. If you can stay up that late, watch the second one. I'm just going to have to get up early and watch the replay because, my God. Really, get your act together, NCAA. No one wants to stay up till 12:30 at night to watch a damn basketball game. A college basketball game, an NBA, it doesn't matter. No one wants to stay up that late. If they did, they would start the Super Bowl at 10 p.m. We'll see you.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.